Case of the Missing Peanut Jar by Devon. This is a story that happened a long time ago. Well, maybe about 5 minutes, but whatever. It was a very cold night, and just like any other December night, it was raining and snowing. I was, Charlie Van Heimelweiser, was in my dentist office helping a patient clean his teeth, and what a nightmare it was. The kid would not hold still, and he would not open his mouth, and whenever he did, oh, how it was disgusting. Every now and then, I'd stop and put my tools down and say to myself, oh, why did I have to clean up his teeth? Oh, how I'd love to be in my laboratory cleaning machines and inventions, because that's what I did in my spare time. It was about 9 o'clock when I had finished my last patient of the day, and as usual, I was the last dentist to leave the office. So I locked up the doors and tossed the key onto my pocket. Then I picked up my briefcase and off I was on my walk back home. I walked around every street, shivering from the coldness, and the teeth of mine were already chattering. Every time I took a pace, my legs felt frozen stiff, and I could already see icicles forming on my briefcase. Well, I was a few blocks away from my little house on Carter Road when squeak, squeak. What was that annoying sound? I thought to myself. I walked around every street trying to find out where that sound was coming from. I peered behind a big tree filled with ripe red apples. Nothing there. I checked under a piece of rusty old metal, and I still couldn't see anything. I then found a big hole in the ground. Eureka! I screamed. I then had found that the mouse noise was coming from inside the hole. Inside the hole there was a tiny little chipmunk, no bigger than a palm of a kid's hand. I tried to reach down and grab it so it wouldn't be stuck in the hole and save it from a lifetime of captivity, but in a very fast motion, my arm swung back and I sailed down, face forward, into the hole. I didn't want to be stuck in that hole either. I put the mouse in a small back pocket of mine and used my hands to grip rocks on the side of the hole and climbed up to the surface of the hole. Once I got out, I ran to my home at the speed of lightning. Well, maybe I was a little slower. I ran in the doorway and stampeded up to my room on the second story of my house. My lab room was a bright room that was painted green. It had no windows or doors at all, and the only source of light was one light bulb. I walked into my lab with a chipmunk in hand, walking over all the scraps of extra metal that were scattered over the hard floor from previous inventions. And then I walked up to my new creation, the Make Your Brain Smartinator. It can make you smarter by twisting up your brain in a way to become smarter. It was in very nice condition. In fact, I admit it that day. I call it the Make Your Brain Smartinator, I said to the chipmunk in a sweet mellow voice. I hooked the critter up to a machine, but before I could do anything more, I heard a loud, loud rumble. A sound of pots banging and slamming into each other. A sound of my house getting destroyed. A sound of a robber. Uh-oh, I screeched. I ran out of my messy lab and down the stairs without even touching the banister. And yes, this time I ran faster than the speed of light. I ran into the kitchen to see a pile of food and cans splattered all around the floor in a big pile, and to see the refrigerator door and my pantry door open. Something fishy is going on in here, I said out loud, picking up a can of tuna. Who's in my house? I picked up the broomstick to use as a weapon if any harm came to me. And slowly and stiffly, I walked through the pile of cans and pots and turned the corner to Devon. Ah! I screamed, almost dropping the broom on my foot. I walked into the bathroom and did a little check to see if there was anything in it. Nope, and I almost fainted as I heard the sound of someone scrambling through the machines and scraps of metal of mine. I scrambled up the stairs trying to keep as quiet as a field mouse. I scrambled into my office and saw something different than I thought. A cloud of smoke was surrounding someone in my lab, so I couldn't see that person's face, but I could see he or she was scrambling around in my desk drawer, pulling out some of my things. Still, as quiet as a field mouse, I picked up my broom and walked into the room, and I yelled, "Out of my house now!" Ah! I heard the robber scream. "What are you doing, Dad? You totally freaked me out." Then I noticed something else. It wasn't a robber. Or it wasn't a big fat rat, and it wasn't a giant buffalo stampede. It was someone I knew, my son. He had big green eyes, dark brown hair, and he always wears a small sweatshirt, even on the hottest days in the world. You know my lab is off limits, I said to him. I know, he replied. Then why are you in here? Well, it was a long story, but you see, after school when I biked home, I walked in the doorway quietly because I felt like doing a good deed for you. So I knew that you loved peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, so I scrambled into the kitchen to get the peanut butter and jelly. I found the jelly, but I didn't find the peanut butter. So I pulled all the hardware and goods in our kitchen out in search of the peanut butter, but I could not find it. So I remembered how much you loved it, so I walked into your workroom, even though it was off limits. I went through your stash of bolts, gears, and screws, and I found it. Here, finally, he said to me in a sad voice, holding up a jar of peanut butter. I'm sorry. It's fine, I replied, but there's one thing we can do. I held up a jar of jelly and whole wheat bread to him. Let's have lunch.